Welcome to Driven Ops Power Talk. I'm Jasmine Moore.
And I'm Rebecca Heisey. We're two work besties who have spent over a decade learning the ins and outs of sales and marketing.
On this podcast, we discuss all things go-to-market operations, the people, processes, and technologies that make up the engine of a thriving go-to-market function. Let's get to it. What if your next promotion doesn't come from working harder, but from working smarter with AI? In a recent field experiment with over 2,300 marketers, two researchers from MIT found that human AI teams produced 60% more output per person and spent 23% more time on creative tasks compared to all human teams. So we're talking about this today because AI isn't here to replace people. It's really here to help us focus on our zone of genius and what we're actually great at. We're going to talk about using it at work and how it's not something that you should be fearful of or be stressed about. We'll be diving in and figuring out how it can fit into our day-to-day and how we can team up with AI to maximize all of our results.
Yeah, so I think the first part we have to acknowledge is the AI anxiety, right? So we want to, embrace AI, but we don't want to be fearful that it's going to take away our jobs or lose human touch. And a lot of people also have like ethical concerns about it, or they feel overwhelmed. And I totally understand that, because it is really just like taking over the landscape. I mean, every time you turn around, there's a new platform that's like, hey, we have a new AI feature, or we have these agents, and everything is now discussed around AI. But you don't want to have anxiety. You want to try to just embrace it and take a little bit of it at a time as you can.
Yeah, and I think at the root of the fear is a few things. Skepticism. People are always skeptical of like new technology, new things that say that they can do all of these great, wonderful things. A lot of people are just those half empty cup people. Is that the right saying? Cup half full versus half empty.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of half empty cup people.
Yeah.
Wow, I just did too much on that. But I think people are just skeptical and not trustworthy of the actual technology. Trust is huge in AI, but then on top of that, there's fear of it really taking someone's job. Like, this may sound cliche, but people are really fearful of, hey, if this can do all of this is my job. Like, are you copywriting? I'm a copywriter. Is the company going to say, oh, we don't really need Jasmine anymore because AI is doing it? And so there are a lot of misconceptions, and I think it's just a lack of understanding. And the media is taking over and putting this bad emphasis on how AI can disrupt your job.
And I think we have to sort of dispel some of those myths, right? Like, I think there are a lot of misconceptions about AI taking over all the jobs, and I don't think that that's true. I think that it really, truly is there for an assistance in your job. It's helping you to be quicker. It's helping you to, maybe instead of those mediocre tasks that take you hours to do, you can now maybe use, like, again, a chatbot to help figure out a way to speed up that process. And so there isn't like any way that the AI can really truly function without human input. And I think we have to remember that you always have to have that oversight in what is being put into these chatbots, into these AI agents, whatever it is, the human intervention is still needed.
Yeah. Have you heard of the Microsoft Tay, the like chatbot disaster? It was back in 2016.
No. Mm-mm.
So Microsoft had a chatbot that they launched on Twitter, and it was designed to like engage with people, learn from people's conversations, and reply to people. And it was meant to be fun and interactive. It was a marketing experiment, and they wanted to showcase this new conversational AI technology, except it completely backfired because Twitter users started talking to it and feeding it nonsense, and it started spitting out like offensive content and inappropriate content. And it was just like a PR disaster. And so they ended up shutting it down within like 24 hours. But I mean, that just goes to show that like without that human oversight, you can't just turn AI on and let it go. You have to constantly feed the models, constantly monitor it, check it, make sure that it has that real emotional human sentiment and it isn't being harmful.
Yeah. And I think that's a really great example because, again, like even when it does feed you stuff, and if you've started using it, maybe you're not, super afraid of it and you've been trying to apply it in your day-to-day life, you always do kind of find areas where you always still have to kind of tweak it. And I
Mhm.
know now they're starting to get a little smarter where it starts to learn on those improvements that you suggest, where you're like, don't use this, try to say it more like that, or you're giving it instruction, but it definitely needs that assistance.
Yeah, and there's real power in that kind of partnership, how AI is augmenting our capabilities. And once we start to see it as a force multiplier and not as the competition, I think our work product is going to skyrocket. Specifically referring to operators like us and marketers, even sales professionals, like use it as a force multiplier. And I'm thinking like repetitive tasks, those things that are like super data intensive, things that are boring and just take up too much time, like data analysis for one. When you're pulling a bunch of reports and you want to pull out trends, AI can really be a help in like gathering those high level trends so that you can then synthesize that data and really develop the story. It's like a Kickstarter. I like how it does that with content generation too. Like if you are a copywriter and you want to brainstorm a bunch of topics, AI can help you do that and also help you get like a rough outline to where then you can put in your actual experiences and your topics that you want to dive deeper on, and it just excels that process.
Yeah, I think gone are the days where we used to just Google everything and try to find forums and try to find things where you're like, I need to figure out how to write a formula in Excel and I just can't figure this solution out. And it's taking me hours just to, come piece together different articles online. It definitely speeds up the process. But the other thing is, again, just going back to that, humans are still human. We have to remember that the AI cannot replicate human emotion, human behavior. So to your point about like content, when you are using AI as like a creative source, it can help you be innovative and brainstorm new ideas, but it can't give you that emotional intelligence and empathy, right? It'll
Mhm.
give you those really nice like bullet points and key topics to focus on, but you're the one that still has to put those nuanced human interactions into what it's feeding you to make it really just go in depth with like that connection that the human experience wants and doesn't sound like a robot is writing it. And it can't do critical thinking either or ethical judgment. So, to your point about that Microsoft example, it's not going to be able to evaluate something and say, like, is this going to actually give me a bad reaction from
Right.
people? Like, maybe this is not something that people will align with or agree with. And it could be pulling in bad information. So you have to be able to still strategically prioritize like what should be shown, and then how you're going to sort of use the data it's giving you to create the better story that you want to put out there.
Yeah, I agree, especially with like let's talk about storytelling. When you get your information from AI, it's a textbook. I mean, it's going to get sources from publications on the internet. There's going to be no emotion, there's going to be no general context of your personal experiences, and that's what makes you unique. If you're a marketer, if you're anyone and you're creating a piece of work, what's going to make your work stand out is your personal experience, your human touch, adding in those nuances and that context that you have that the AI doesn't. Like AI is very intelligent. It knows a lot, but it does not know your experiences and it's not emotional. And I think there's a huge miss there when people are just depending on AI to produce blog posts, to produce emails, to even produce like summaries for the executive leader. When you're presenting reports to leadership, they want to hear a story. They don't want to hear just a list of data points and trends. They want to know what's the story behind this? What is the data actually telling me? And so partnering with AI, the AI can get you those data points, but adding in that layer of data synthesis and that narrative on top of the story that you're because you're bringing in what your company is going through, what campaigns you ran, what happened last quarter that may be affecting this quarter. That story and that narrative is what's key, and that's what leaders want to hear.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the other thing we have to talk about is like how you can go about embracing AI because it really is taking over our world. Obviously, like we said, it's pretty much in everything. Every time you turn around, everyone's talking about how they're adding in AI features. But you have to think about even one of our past episodes that we did. I think I called out this crazy scenario where whatever year it was when sewing machines were coming out and people actually protested the sewing machines because they were like, this is going to take our job away, and it didn't, right? It's just it was a new technology that the people who were, in this industry could use to help advance their sewing techniques, right? So it's kind of the same thing. You have to upskill and keep reskilling with how you're using AI in your environment and having that AI literacy and being able to just effectively use these tools to discern like the outputs that you're getting. So, like we've said, being able to use AI for data points and helping to story tell, but it's really just there to enhance your job. Really, it's not going to actually be a robot and do your job. It's
Yeah.
just going to help you do things quicker if you can learn how to leverage it the right way.
Yeah, and continuously learn about it. And I think a good place to start is just identify where your personal opportunities are to leverage AI. You could think about your day to day. What are you doing every day that's mundane? Well, you're probably summarizing things, you're probably creating follow up emails, creating notes from meetings and sending them out, especially if you are either a project manager or someone who has to disseminate information. All of those things, I mean, you may be analyzing data. I know we look at data every day, all day. So think about all of those things and like, okay, where can I add AI to my process that's just going to make it a little bit quicker and a little bit more efficient for me? And then also start to build your like AI workbench. What tools can you use? ChatGPT at the base level is free. I highly recommend the paid one. It's like $20 a month. Even like Gemini, if you are a Google shop at work, you probably have access to Gemini, and that's huge. Just turning on the Gemini notes in Google Meets. It's just amazing how accurate it is with extracting those notes from the meeting. So start identifying your AI opportunities and build your workbench and think about what you can do to kind of maximize what you have, the resources that you have with AI.
Yeah, and start small. Like I know when I heard that ChatGPT added the like imaging creation feature, I was like, "All right, I'm going to take a picture of my lawn and like upload it and see if it can tell me how to, do some new landscaping around my house and see what it outputs." And, it's okay, but it's just like, it gives you some ideas. You're starting small, you're just taking a little picture. It doesn't really, do much other than start to help you learn how to use it a little bit more as an advanced feature like that. But there are so many tools that are adding these new AI features as well. So like HubSpot Breeze AI, there's SalesLoft AI features for sales engagement, but all of these tools are also adding these things called agents where they're like summarizing data for their sales reps to tee up. So like when sales reps are doing outreach in some way, they don't have to go back and look at like previous activity and previous history of an account. It's kind of teeing up a lot of that information for them. There's tons of like meeting recording AI features now. So you have Fireflies meeting recording, you have Fellow, you have like just so many different things that are being leveraged. And I think that those are the kinds of things where if you do just sort of start small, dip your toe in there, look at the options that you have available to you and how they can help you. That's kind of how you'll gradually expand your comfort level and be able to then, start to use it a little bit more day by day.
I love how accessible AI has really become because all of these tools, you're not purchasing them for AI. They're tools that you have been using that are now launching AI within their tech stack because they have to stay competitive because all of these tools are starting to launch AI. So things like the Fireflies meeting example, that's amazing. We've had meeting recorders, but now these meeting recorders are able to summarize your meetings, use AI, extract the action items and tasks, and then go into your project management system like ClickUp and assign you the task, and it's like
Mhm.
all automated. And that's amazing because that
Yeah.
could take like 30 minutes after a call to be like, okay, let me look at my notes, what were the action items, let me go and process this and add it to my ClickUp or Asana, and AI just does it for you. So I
Yeah.
think it's just at our fingertips and so accessible, and that's a way to really jump in and start leveraging it within the tools that you already own.
Yeah, and I think that's like so helpful. And even there's another tool that's making its way out there called Glean, and they actually will be able to see your documents in your system. So you can actually ask Glean, like, do we have a document that discusses an SOP on this? And it'll actually search your database to say, yeah, there is one that was created here, and then you can find it. And again, you can create these like different prompts to help with things. So it's really crazy how much it has kicked off, honestly, and just like everyone is embracing it. But it is like, I think, just something that you can, just really use to help and improve just your process overall.
Yes, absolutely. I've never heard of Glean. I'm gonna have to check that out because I haven't heard
Yeah,
of that one yet.
it's huge. I feel like I mean, I know I've used it, and I know a bunch of platforms are actually starting to integrate with it because it's really taking off. So definitely check it out.
And for organizations, I hope that we see more and more organizations start to become AI positive, and they start to have this culture of like, yeah, we want to leverage AI because our competition is. You have to
Mhm.
stay ahead of your competition. And if they're doing things 20% faster because they're leveraging AI, then you're going to fall behind if you are not leveraging AI. So, for organizations and for leadership, I think it's important that you start to create that culture of AI positivity. But it's important to keep the communication transparent. And also, there are guidelines, right? You have to be compliant with all of your organization's policies and regulations. So, obviously, the tools that you're using get approval. But I mean, AI is not a bad thing. And I want to see more and more companies encouraging the use of AI by their employees. So here's the bottom line: AI is not going to replace us. It's going to work with us, it's going to be our power partner, but it's only going to work if we lean in, if we experiment, and if we start thinking of AI as part of our team and not a threat to our positions. All of us operators and marketers who are going to stand out in the next few years are the ones who really leaned in and took advantage of AI being so accessible right now. They're the ones who will know how to use it smartly, ethically, and creatively. So if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. Do not fall behind and take advantage and get AI in your workflow today.
All right, so now time for coffee
Coffee
talk.
talk. I actually have an iced coffee today.
Oh, I do too, but it's like Dunkin'. All right. So, our topic for today on Coffee Talk, in theme with our AI like conversation, was actually a story that I heard about, which I think is pretty funny, and I'm curious about people's take on this. But there was a Yahoo article that talked about a woman and her husband who used ChatGPT to sort of do this like fortune telling experiment. So, if anybody's ever heard of tessography, it's kind of that old experiment people used to do with tea leaves where they would drink a cup of tea, and at the bottom of their cup, the way that their tea formed, they would sort of use that to do like a fortune telling kind of, scenario. So I guess this couple decided that they were going to do that with their coffee grounds, and they uploaded a picture of their coffee grounds to ChatGPT. And for some reason, ChatGPT said that the husband's coffee grounds said that he was having an affair and that the person's name started with the letter E. So the husband kind of just like laughed it off and was like, okay, ha ha ha. But the wife actually took it serious. She actually filed for divorce because this happened. So I thought this was a pretty good scenario of just our whole theme around AI because, again, you need that sort of human intervention. I think this is one of those extreme cases where you're like,
Yeah.
what's the proof behind this? This is still just a robot. You uploaded a photo and for some reason,
I
maybe it
know.
saw the letter E. I
I
don't
have
know.
so many questions. First of all, was it true? Did they find out if he was actually cheating?
I don't think so.
That's
I
crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like tarot cards, you know? It's
Yeah.
kind of like I don't know if they ever like actually ended up having proof that this was a
Mhm.
real thing, but they took it like it was like this psychic reading that
Yeah.
yeah, so it's pretty crazy.
So I feel like because they say ChatGPT is biased, right? The more you talk to ChatGPT, the more it gets to know like what your actual fears are, what where you stand on certain things. And so when you ask it questions, it's going to appeal to you. So I feel like the wife was probably having chats with ChatGPT in the past and asking like, "Hey, if my husband is doing this, what could he be doing?" Or like,
Could be.
should I be worried? How can you tell if someone's cheating? And then like they ask the question and they're like, "Yep, he's cheating." And she's like, "I knew it."
That could be. Yeah. And again, I think it's like we have to remember that these are still just like it's a computer system. It's not using like when you
Most
ask questions like that, it's not based on real data. It's based on just like probably to your point, just maybe previous chats you've used and it's trying to feed off of the answer you might have, been trying to get to
yeah.
in a
No,
previous time.
it always tells you what you want to hear. Like
Mhm.
ChatGPT becomes your biggest cheerleader. Like it's so supportive. And
Yeah.
so I feel like she probably has been chatting with it and like has been thinking this for a while and then it just kind of was like, "Yes, I know what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you." She's going to be
Probably.
and then she probably told like, "Hey, he's like hanging out with Evelyn for too long." I
Oh
don't
my
know.
gosh, that's
See,
funny.
the skepticism that I have for that AI scenario right now.
Yeah, yeah. I think if anything, this is a good article to just warn you of like maybe don't use it for your personal life.
Yeah.
Just use it for work-related assistance and, don't expect it to be a fortune teller and actually do detective work for you. I think you
Yeah.
need to do that on your own.
Or your therapist, because some
Yes,
people are using it
exactly.
as a therapist. All right. Well, thanks for tuning into this episode. Let us know how you guys are working AI into your daily workflows. See you next time.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms.
Keep up with us and all of our hot takes on all things go-to-market operations. See you next time.